Guru Nation, how's it going? Thank you so much for watching. Make sure you like, subscribe, comment, share. It really means a lot to me. I have a very special guest. Okay, this is my intern, soon to be part-time employee, hopefully soon to be full-time employee, Samantha Anderson. She's been very helpful with Creo because my site, Yuma Clinical Trials, uses Creo and for eSource, EReg, and then also the CTMS, which we won't even get into that because that's complicated. Well, it's beyond the scope of this video. So we're going to talk about, well, Samantha's really going to share the EReg components, how she can organize everything. And then I'm going to jump in with like practical advice for people just wanting to learn more about regulatory. We discovered that the F1572 form from the FDA is actually going to expire. The template they use in every study is going to expire in like 2 weeks or
Yep.
3 weeks.
22 days. So
22 days. There you
that's for
go.
you all to know.
So Samantha Anderson, welcome. Just introduce yourself. I don't think we've done a video. Have we done a video before?
No, nope. First time. Hooray.
So who are you? Explain just a little bit about who you are first before we do this Creo stuff.
Okay, so hi, my name is Samantha. You can call me Sam. Go for it. So I actually have done most of my life in the tourism industry. I even have a master's degree in tourism, in
I didn't
sustainable.
know that.
I do, yes. But once the pandemic hit, my husband is involved in clinical research. And once the pandemic hit and like all of the tourism jobs kind of evaporated, I kind of just started watching what he was doing. And I realized that all the things that he was doing with like organizing and everything, I was like, that actually looks kind of fun. I don't know. I'm one of those people, I like paperwork. So I'm like, oh, that looks like a good time. And then I started actually looking at what it means to be in clinical research. Your book was a big part of that.
Thank you.
Yes. And yes, exactly.
It hit
And
number one bestseller in medical research last night, guys.
yeah.
I had
Oh,
to brag about that on Instagram. Yeah.
yeah, nice.
Shameless
Yeah,
plug.
worth it. It's worth it. No, because it made me realize, like, part of the reason I did sustainable tourism is I wanted to be able to help people like in communities, economically usually, right, to set up their own tourism businesses. But I realized like clinical research can help even more than, because tourism can be so fragile. It can be a really fragile ecosystem.
Man,
Whereas, clinical research, you can really help people in like the time of need, right?
tell me
So
about it. That pandemic ruined my trip to Costa Rica. My wife and I were supposed to go to Costa Rica. Ruined it. We had everything booked.
I'm
Everything was
sorry.
booked.
I'm sorry. Yeah, I know the feeling very well. But yeah, so then I found out about the CRC Academy, and I've been doing that. Really, really enjoyed it. As someone who has no clinical experience at all, it has been very helpful. And I can say 100%, it made it so that doing this internship with you, I already understand what I'm doing, right? Like I know what a 1572 is. I would not have known that if I had come in without anything. So that's basically kind of my background. So you can see where I'm coming from. So I'm pretty new to clinical research, but I'm really enjoying it. And so now I'm mainly focusing on EReg and eSource with Dan.
Yep.
Okay.
At Yuma Clinical Trials, we've got 3 studies, soon to be hopefully 2 more. And Sam's going to share her screen so you guys can see what we're talking about rather than just talking about it. And Creo, what's been your experiences so far, like with Creo? Like good, bad,
Oh,
neutral?
oh, very good. One thing that's helpful, I'll go on ahead and share my screen just to show
Okay.
this. One thing that is really nice with Creo, right, is if you go over here to this little question mark box, it will take you not only to like FAQs, which is what I was expecting, maybe, but you can go over to the Academy section, and they have a bunch of courses that are already set up. So you can do all this training, you can get certification. I've already done it in
Oh, wow.
and EReg. So like it basically teaches you everything and exactly how to use the platform, which is really, really helpful. Because otherwise you're probably just, going for it and hoping that it works.
Like me,
So
I think I need to do those trainings. That's
yeah, they're cool.
all right. I'll do that.
Yeah, and the good thing is you can like do it and then walk away and come back days later and pick up where you were.
Okay.
So that's nice. But so just to show some things on Creo that I personally like as someone who is meticulously organized. Uh, so there's two different types of folders in the EReg. You have like these yellow ones and you have the blue ones. The blue ones will show up in every study. So all of these studies have these blue folders. Hope you don't mind I show this real quick, but so you can see like the people that are working at the site, you can click on the blue folders, and here, for example, there's my GCP and there's my signed CV, right? And that automatically goes in every folder. But like, let's say you have people that are working on some studies but aren't working on others, you can create a yellow folder to just go in this study and just put the CVs, GCPs, etc., IATAs of the people from this study there. So like if you are in a situation where pretty much everybody's doing the same job on every study, these, you don't even have to make a folder really because you have these, but you can make an additional folder. So one thing that's pretty handy here is you can set up folder templates. So here's a test one I did, and I'll show you how I did that. So like test 2, oh boy, you can put a description there. This is a test. So if I do this, first of all, when you make folders in this, one thing that's quite nice is they really set it up so that you can have as many folders as you want. So you'll start with like a 0, 1, because you can have unlimited folders pretty much. At least from what I've seen. Feel free to correct me, Creo. But so, you're not going to just start with 1, because then if you have an 11th folder, it's going to come over it. So you start with like 01 test. Okay. And then if I want a second folder, I just do 02 test, and that'll automatically make 2 folders for me. But let's say I want a subfolder, then I'm going to hit a tab and be like 01.1 test. And then I want a subfolder of that 01.1.1 test.
You can just keep doing that forever.
Mm-hmm.
What's the practical?
So this is pretty handy. What I've been noticing with like the studies we've been doing, right? Sometimes you're going to want to have folders and folders and folders. So let's just say training, right? Let's say you're doing the like initiation visit training, right? Something like that. Okay, so maybe I want to have a folder that is just associated with that particular training, right? So I could do like SIV training, okay, as my first one. And then underneath I can do, let's see, training materials, right? So let's say I want to just put the training materials in there. And then I'm going to go on ahead and do this. So then let's say I also want like 01.2, like staff training. Obviously, I might change the names of some of these, but we're just giving examples. So then I can have another folder in there if I want to that has like, completed, not signed, right?
Okay.
And I can make another folder that's like 01.2.2, which is completed, signed.
Okay.
So I'll go ahead and save that just to show. So test 2, and I can click it, and there you can see my template. So let's say you're doing studies that have the same organizational structure, like maybe you have the same sponsor for 2 studies, they expect you to keep your organization the same. You can go on ahead and make a template for your folders, and then you can put them in the EReg so that you'll automatically have the exact folders you need. So then that'll make it a lot easier when you have to go and put documents in. let's see. So if I take this template, right? Let's say I take it. Now you need to already have no other folders in there. Again, Creo, feel free to correct me. But from what I've seen, you need to have no other folders already there, right? So then you go and you say create folders from templates, right? You might have to give it a second. My internet's a little bit slow. Apologies.
Mine
Okay.
too at the site.
Yeah, yeah. So then I'll say, I want to put in those exact folders that I just made. I'm going to hit save. Then,
So the yellow and the blue,
mhm,
did you
there
explain
you
like
go.
the difference?
Yeah, so the blue are going, those are permanents, like
Okay,
they're here already, and those are automatically in every one of these studies.
I got you.
Like just to show, see, they're automatically there.
Okay.
But yeah, so you can see here's our folders, right? Staff training, right? So
Mhm.
see, they're already there, they're already created. So it makes it a lot easier to go ahead and input things. And then like, let's just say this was going to be for the 1572. Obviously, this is not how I do folders, but like in terms of structure, but let's say this is the 1572 folder, right? So I can rename it, I can move it to another study if I need to. But let's say this is good and we're good. I don't need to add any subfolders. I just want this folder, right? So I do add document here. Okay, and then I'm gonna go choose a file. Don't make fun of my file names. So let's just pick this 1572, okay? Here we go. So I can go up here and I can type in whatever I want. For me, usually I say something about the date that it was signed. And what study it is. I'd put like the study title, but okay, let's just say 1572 for now. You can put in any description that you want. So this can be helpful if you have users that aren't necessarily in the same space. So you can see version 1. I can say the version date is today. And well, as we've seen, this form expires on the 31st. So I can like just straight up put that there. You can also put when your IRB approves documents. So if you've already uploaded something and you're waiting for IRB approval, you can go back in and say that that's been approved. Same with like effective
So the
dates.
purpose with all that is like to give you the user alerts as to
Yeah.
when these things. I had another question. Let's say like something that you said, okay,
Yeah.
let's say we have like 10 studies
Mhm.
and I'm the coordinator, right, on all of them. Me and then my PIs, let's say the PI on 8 of them. When I upload my CV, is there a way to put that same CV in every folder?
From what if everybody's kind of sticking around, like you already know what they are, and you don't want to clarify the structure more via folders, then you can just keep it with the credentials and the training tabs.
Oh, okay,
If you're
okay.
organized in your head, like, okay, I know exactly who's what on each study, then you can keep them exactly like that. What I've been doing for our studies, because it does change around who the PI is,
Yeah.
and the sub-Is, I've been making separate folders inside. Like I've made folders and subfolders that say specifically like PI documents, sub-I documents. But again, that completely depends on what your need would be. So, and how meticulous you want to be
I see.
and how specific. But yeah, so if I go to this, it's exactly what Dan said. This is really nice. In my opinion, this has been helpful for me because I can literally tell it when, like, update me, send me notifications 2 weeks from now that this is going to expire, and you can assign it to whoever, right?
Mhm.
Like it's auto assigned to me because I'm uploading it. But I could assign it to Dan right now. So then he would be notified. Not only would he be notified like every time he opens Creo, like it'll be there on his dashboard, but he'll also get emails.
Yeah.
So
That's
let's say,
important. That's important, actually. Those alerts are super important.
yeah.
I know from the
And
IRB, which is a separate portal, I have to actually give you access to.
yes.
Whenever there's an ICF amendment or a new protocol amendment that's approved, the IRB will send you emails, because if they rely on just you to go in whenever you feel like logging in, you'll miss
Mhm.
it, right? And you might make deviations, because when a new informed consent comes out, patients are supposed to sign it
Mhm.
at their next visit.
Yeah.
So yeah, those are important. These kind of alerts are important.
Mhm. No, exactly. Um, okay, so this is now uploaded. You can
And
see
just
there.
show everybody this expiration. So look, guys, this is what we're talking about. If you look at the top, this is the FDA's form. All right. Sam just pointed this out to me earlier. Like, the FDA, their 1572 has an expiration date on it of, right now we're recording on March 8th. So in 22 days, it's expiring. And all new studies I've gotten so far have had this template. And as far as we know, the FDA hasn't released a new template. So I don't know. It's not like we need another thing to worry about, but here's another one.
Yeah. I'll keep checking. I'll see if they put out the new template. We can
Somebody
talk.
let us know in the comments what's going on. Somebody's got to know.
Yeah, help. But okay, so you can see it's uploaded. You can download anybody who has access to this particular folder, like because you assign that, they're going to be able to download it. Um, you can make multiple versions, which is cool. So it's like what Dan was talking about, like, you know, how you, when you have a new informed consent, right? You don't want your regulatory, the person that goes in there to automatically pull out the old informed consent. So here it's really nice because you can upload the new informed consent in the same file name and it will automatically like replace it as the default file it takes you to. But then once you're in, you can actually click, it'll have like a thing written underneath here that says see all previous versions, and you can look at the previous versions. If anybody wants to see an example of that, I can do that in a later video. I don't mind. But
Oh, we'll do plenty of these. I mean, this
yeah,
is, we're
yeah,
just gonna do like an overview of EReg. We haven't even touched eSource. There's so much
yeah,
we can do.
yeah, yeah. And it's for me, like, I know I don't have a lot of experience in the industry, but I will say, coming from that course, like this EReg is really helpful. Like it's something where even if you're out of town, you could like log into this and see what's going on, which would be really nice. And from what I've heard from Monica, she said that a lot of the times, a lot of the EReg platforms might be fairly similar in terms of how they structure it. So even if you just start here, like let's say you get really good at Creo, but then you go to a different job, they use a different system, you probably could use your skills and like take them over, which to me is super handy. I mean, one thing I like is that it automatically makes them into drafts. So let's say I just need to share a file with Dan and I don't want to just email it. I would rather put it in the system. Uh, then it'll be a draft. The monitor can't see it. So it'll be there. Dan can see it, but it won't be until I go down here and I sign off on it, right? The moment that I e-sign it, that will make it viewable to the monitor. This is also helpful if like you upload something and then you realize you uploaded the completely wrong thing. Uh, once things, yeah, it's kind of once things are e-signed, especially when you get to the source documents, once they're e-signed, that's when you can start the audit trail, right? But if it stays a draft, then and you realize, oh man, I really messed up. Like I put that the year is, you know, like 2014 on accident, like then you won't, no one will have to see that huge mistake that you made until you e-sign it. So things can get caught really, really quickly and easily. Like, you know, if Dan was uploading documents and I was going through and looking at them, right? Then if I saw something like that, I could tell him and we could delete this and upload a new draft and then sign off on it. So that's pretty nifty. I like that. It gives the ability to make corrections along the way, as per always. So
Yeah.
um
And it gives people like, so Samantha, the way that we've been doing this is I've been, for a regulatory document, for example, I've been getting the doctors to physically sign the form, whatever it is, and then I scan it and usually send it to Sam, and then she'll put it in Creo. And
yeah.
Sam doesn't live in Yuma, Arizona. and she's
No,
managing our
I'm in Missouri.
and she's managing our EReg for us. So that just goes to show you like there are productivity gains, and there are even like this transcends like location because it's all digital.
Yeah. Yeah. It's also one thing that I found out from the e-source training that's pretty cool is when you're doing e-source, if your scanner allows you to scan to an email address, you actually, like our site has a Creo email address. So
Wow.
when you scan something, you can auto scan it to go into the source, like as a draft, which I
I
thought
might
was
need a better scanner. I figure out how to scan email from here.
yeah.
I know the
We
girls
will.
over here do, but I'm not sure how to use their scanner. I've done it before, but yeah. Oh, okay, we got to figure that
Yeah.
out, Sam. Obviously,
Yeah.
I'm learning things too.
But yeah, I'll go ahead. That's all I'll show today. I can show more stuff at a later date. But there you go, guys.
Gotta
There's
keep
some
them
stuff with
waiting. We gotta keep them waiting. We're gonna get into more regulatory. Maybe we'll do another video on the regulatory from a study startup perspective, and then maybe we'll do another one later about eSource, creating it as we do it in real time. Sam and I will do
yeah,
a Zoom here and there if you guys like these Creo ones. So thank you, Sam. Sam's LinkedIn is underneath the video, so you can go connect. Everybody should go connect with
yeah.
everybody
Feel free.
in research, but especially Sam, such a knowledgeable person and perfect
Oh, thank you.
example of somebody from left field, like not even anything to do with science, medicine, gonna be a successful clinical researcher. I had
Oh,
somebody, Sam, we'll end on this note. Somebody messaged me. They said, I'm not sure I can get into clinical research because I have a master's in, and it was something science related, but it was not a master's in clinical research. I said, you're crazy. Of course.
yeah, yeah. And I can say that confidently just with, like for example, we've had sessions with like Ashley Margot, right?
Yeah.
And she'll talk about, some of the things where you might have a certificate or experience in something and you don't think it's applicable, but it totally is. And it's been kind of funny because sometimes when she gives examples, they're still like in medicine and science, and I'm like, I have none of that. So yeah, if you have, but really it kind of comes down to it's, at least for me, from what I've seen so far, it has more to do with, being up on things, being able to juggle, having good organizational skills. Those kinds of things will help, even if you're from something completely different. You'll see if you go to my LinkedIn, my previous jobs have nothing to do with this at all. So
But in a
yeah,
way, like, and maybe this is the caffeine talking because my neurons are connecting, but you were in the tourism business. And what I caught it at the beginning when you said, well, I'm trying to help the people in those countries
yeah.
develop the infrastructure to attract more tourism there. So basically, you're having like your preferred vendors. In a way, you're like a site because you have access to the patients, which are the travelers, and then you also have access to in this case, would it be like the sponsors or maybe like a vendor because
I
they're the
mean,
ones.
you would
Oh, my
kind
legs.
of all of the above. Like, I mean, even I worked on cruise ships for a little bit, and like even there, you have your main head, like the head of the company, which is in like Miami, for example. Then the cruise ship would be almost like its own site, following the rules from the port. And then you also have vendors. Like I worked for a vendor on a cruise ship, so you can really transfer a lot of things over that you might not even think are similar at all. Like even just concepts, right?
We gotta do a separate podcast on that. For our next, we'll leave them on a cliffhanger. For the next Creo lesson, we will, in the beginning, we'll talk about transferable skills, and particularly from something like as from left field as you can get, tourism, how that relates to clinical research. You guys already see that it can. So thank
Yeah,
you, Samantha.
got
I
this.
appreciate it. Thank you everybody for watching, and we'll catch you all later. Bye bye.
Thanks.
Go connect with Sam. Bye bye.